Mermaids have been a fascinating element of folklore across cultures for centuries. These mythical beings are typically described as having a human upper body and a fish-like lower half. For many cultures, both past and present, mermaids are not mere legends but are believed to be real beings, sometimes as physical entities, other times as spiritual ones. References to mermaids can even be found in texts like the Bible and the Book of Enoch. This video delves into the enigmatic history of mermaids, examining accounts of these elusive creatures from ancient times to the modern day. If you weren't aware that mermaids are mentioned in biblical contexts, here's a brief overview. In the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon, a deity named Dagon was worshipped as a god. Descriptions of Dagon resemble a merman, the male counterpart to a mermaid. The Hebrew Bible identifies Dagon as the chief deity of the Philistines, who inhabited Canaan between 1200 and 600 BCE. Scriptures such as Joshua, Judges, and Samuel describe Dagon being worshipped in temples at Gaza and Ashdod. Was Dagon a merman? Based on his depiction, it seems likely, but the true nature of mermaids and mermen requires us to explore more historical accounts. Many mermaid sightings have been reported throughout history. For instance, in 1603, a mermaid was allegedly spotted off the coast of Wales near Pendy by a farmer named Thomas Rold, who, along with others, observed the creature for 3 hours. Such sightings were not isolated to sailors, but included credible witnesses. Similarly, mermen have been mentioned in medieval texts, like a 13th century Norwegian manuscript that described them as ominous creatures predicting storms. In African cultures, water spirits called mami watas are widely revered. These entities are venerated in West, Central, and Southern Africa and within the Afro-American diaspora. They are often described as having human-like features with fishtails and are associated with water. In Zimbabwe, workers on a dam project reported encounters with mermaid-like beings. Some workers even claimed these creatures attacked them, leading to widespread fear and halting the project until rituals were performed to appease the entities. Other stories, such as one involving U.S. Navy officer Rain Malart, detail encounters with strange sea creatures. On an Indonesian island, Malart witnessed fishermen capturing what appeared to be a mermaid. Its upper body resembled a human, while its lower half was like a dolphin's tail. Despite its human-like qualities, the locals treated it as just another sea creature. The concept of mermaids also intersects with mythology and religious texts. In Greek and Roman traditions, sirens, half-woman, half-bird creatures, are said to lure sailors to danger with their songs. However, the Book of Enoch describes sirens differently, women cursed by God for collaborating with fallen angels. These cursed women transformed into supernatural beings, aligning with the image of mermaids rather than bird-like sirens. The Bible and other texts mention entities similar to mermaids, often as spiritual beings. In African traditions, mami watas are considered water spirits, while Western cultures may refer to them as marine spirits. These spirits, like Leviathan in biblical accounts, are often associated with the sea and supernatural powers. Leviathan is described as a powerful creature, both physical and spiritual. Isaiah 27:1 and Psalm 74:14 describe God's judgment upon Leviathan, portraying it as a symbol of chaos and rebellion. Some traditions believe marine spirits can offer wealth and power to those who worship them, but this often comes at a spiritual cost. These entities are seen as deceptive, luring people into servitude under the guise of benevolence. Biblical teachings warn against such deceptions, emphasizing that these spirits are far from benevolent. Mermaids, whether physical or spiritual, have captured human imagination for centuries. Their dual nature, as alluring and dangerous, may explain their enduring presence in folklore, religion, and eyewitness accounts. Whether real or mythical, their legacy continues to inspire awe and mystery. Marine spirits, mermaids, and sirens have a long history of being connected to deception and destruction. This connection often ties them to spiritual battles between good and evil described in various texts, including the Bible. In many interpretations, they represent forces that tempt and mislead humans, much like other demonic entities. Mermaids in pop culture and their spiritual implications. In modern times, the image of mermaids has drastically shifted from feared or worshipped beings to enchanting and often harmless creatures in folklore and media. Popular culture portrays them as symbols of beauty, mystery, and independence. However, some believe this modern interpretation obscures the true nature of these beings. They argue that the shift is part of a larger deception to downplay the spiritual dangers associated with them. For example, films, books, and animations often depict mermaids as whimsical or heroic characters, far removed from their historical and spiritual origins. But when we dive deeper into folklore and religious accounts, their portrayal as alluring yet dangerous beings fits the narrative of entities designed to lure people away from the truth or into harm. Other accounts of marine spirits across the globe. Interestingly, mermaid or marine spirit folklore exists across numerous cultures worldwide. In Japan, the ningyo is a fish-like creature whose flesh is said to grant immortality. In Scotland, the selkie is a shapeshifter capable of shedding its seal skin to appear human. Similarly, the Caribbean has legends of jumbies and sea gods that carry striking similarities to African mamiwatas. Even in the Americas, Native American tribes have stories of water spirits that lure individuals into the water, sometimes never to return. This universality raises questions. Could these legends be based on the same spiritual phenomenon interpreted differently by diverse cultures? The role of marine spirits in spiritual warfare. For those who view these beings through a biblical lens, mermaids and marine spirits are part of the broader spiritual warfare described in Scripture. They are often linked to pride, vanity, and temptation, and some even suggest they have influence over wealth, power, and control. The Leviathan, as previously mentioned, is a prime example of a marine spirit deeply tied to rebellion and pride. If we accept that mermaids and marine spirits have spiritual roots, their modern interpretations may be seen as attempts to obscure their true nature and power. Final thoughts. The mysterious history of mermaids is far more complex than fairy tales and folklore. Whether viewed as myth, misunderstood creatures, or spiritual beings, their presence across time and cultures is undeniable. Ancient texts, folklore, and modern accounts all paint a picture of something much deeper than mere fantasy. Ultimately, what you believe about mermaids, marine spirits, and entities like Leviathan depends on your worldview. Are they remnants of a spiritual realm intersecting with our physical world? Or are they purely mythological creations shaped by human imagination? As we continue to uncover these mysteries, one thing remains clear. The fascination with mermaids and their enigmatic allure persists, just as it has for millennia.